Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to our seminar on the Geographic Information Systems, both the Advanced Diploma and the Bachelor of Technology. I'm going to be talking about today. My name's Karl Kleparchuk. I'm the program head here for the GIS department, and I also have online Sheila Churchill, and hello to everybody that is in the interweb watching as well. I thought before I go into my slides and start telling you about the GIS program that I have recorded two videos of two alumni, one that's working in the government and one that's working in the private sector. So they've gone through our program, and I thought it'd just be interesting for you to hear what both of them have to say. So I'm just going to show you first our person from the provincial government, Gerdeep Singh.
Graduating from a GIS program at BCIT, getting a first job with the provincial government in '99 in November. Basically, I graduated. My program was I started in '98, May '98. I came from Germany at that time. I just landed as an immigrant here to Canada, so it was all new actually, new country, new program. Everything coming together, adjusting to the life here. So I started in May '98. Actually, no, it's in September '98 I started, and I graduated in '99. The program was very intensive. I did not have the luxury to take some prep courses in programming, and I didn't realize how much programming it will involve. But I think I got a lot of help actually. People were very helpful. All the students, they worked together. It's a very collaborative environment. And the teachers were also very supportive. So, for example, I didn't have a computer, and I didn't know that assignments have to be submitted. You type it up, and then you have to submit it and type up. I just wrote it in hand and submitted it, and it was not accepted. So that was my first lesson. You need to adopt basically the tools and technology which is required to do your coursework. Anyways, I graduated in '98. My first job was in Nelson, which is almost 1,000 kilometers from here. So that was a 4-month term. It was a GIS technician. And from there, once you're in the organization, people know you, your capabilities, your skills, networking help you establish those networks. As I said to you earlier, there are 8 different offices. So they were looking for somebody in Surrey at that time. Sea to Sky Land Use Plan, which this map is from. It is from November 27, 2001 actually. And I'll speak to that in a bit. So when I was in Nelson, they were looking for somebody in Surrey office, and and I am from Surrey. I wanted to come back, so I landed a job here. That was a 1-year term position, and it evolved into a permanent position. It was a GIS analyst position. I was an analyst for about 3-4 years, and then I became a GIS coordinator. I was in coordinator position for about 4 years, and then I became GIS managers, and I've been in manager since then, basically 8 years now, 9 years. So it is an evolution from a technician to a manager over the course of last 17 years. And I think the program at BCIT really gave me a solid foundation, not only in the technical aspects, but also things like project management, communication, presentation, how to present, and also networking opportunities. For example, I learned through the GIS program that you need to become student member, for example, for some GIS organizations like Urban and Regional Information Systems Association. It has URISA, which we call. URISA has a local chapter, and I joined. And I still remember there was only 4 people at that point on the executive, and I was one of the youngest one, a student member. And I remained part of that organization for the last 15 years. And it was immensely helpful. I get to know all the GIS managers across the Lower Mainland. So that's my brief, in nutshell, my history, in terms of how I took the program and where I am now. And I really enjoyed it. And when I look back, it may sound really challenging and hard, but I think it is worth it to go through that rigorous training.
I graduated from the BCIT GIS program in 1995. I entered the program after graduating from my undergraduate in Geography from the University of Western Ontario. I really wanted to advance my skill sets in GIS and contemplated going for my master's, which would have been a great decision, but I think the shortcoming is I would have learned a lot of the theory, but not had a way to practically apply it. So I sought out BCIT as a GIS program, and it was exactly what I expected. I got hands-on knowledge and theory together with the opportunity to work for an industry partner through a co-op program. I was hired almost directly out of the program, and I think that coming to BCIT for GIS was really a critical point, a success point in my life. It really opened the door to where I am today, and we have hired 5 students from the BCIT program through the Practicum internship opportunity over the last 4 years.
So what am I going to cover? First, just a little bit about GIS, the kinds of careers there are, what we have at our program here at BCIT, and then we'll end up if you have any questions about any of the things that I've shown here. Okay, so GIS is everywhere. If you recognize that, that's Google Maps, and you've probably used it so that where the A is, that's BCIT. And say you wanted to go to a Canucks game downtown, and the fastest way to get there, Google will figure out what that route is. It can even tell you how much traffic there is on different roads and give you alternatives. So that's sort of a really simple version of GIS, but there's so much more that you can do with it. There's also a lot of aerial imagery, satellite imagery that we get that kind of data to bring into the GIS, and a lot of people use that to do updates, find out change detection, things like that. So that's the Burnaby campus there. And again, so that was the image side. Then there's also the map side. And lots of people just think about things like Google Maps, but there's so much more that you can do with it. So there's an example, or 2 examples here. One is avian flu occurrences. So whenever there's people tracking, epidemiologists, I guess that's what they call them, that they actually track to see the progress of different flus and viruses as they pass through, say, Canada or around the world. And then there's another one here that says robbery in England, and using GIS, like robberies happen in different places, so the police can enter in the information where robberies occurred, what kinds of things happen, and you can build up sort of geospatial profiles and have some predictions of where this person might go and do additional crimes in that area. So there's actually a person from Simon Fraser University developed a model to do that, and now he's sort of famous all over the world. Web is everywhere, and GIS is on the web as well. So we saw a lot of 2D things, such as the Google Maps. So there is that one here. They call that a story map. So they're becoming fairly popular. So you have a map, and then you can put on, say, pictures with that are geolocated. So you can do things. This is where red light cameras are in, I think, in Quebec City, but it could just be any kind of topic. And then as well as you also have 3D and sort of 2.5D visualizations. And again, this is Google Earth. And if you recognize that's the CenturyLink field that is in Seattle. Oh, by the way, to give you added incentive to the people that are here, sorry, people on the web, I've got 3 beautiful BCIT water mugs or water containers. So at the end, I will ask 3 questions, and whoever gets each question, I will give one of these fantastic containers to. This is an example here of the municipal government. So City of Surrey, they have on their website something called Cosmos, where you can take a look and see, say, the entire street network, as well as all the lot lines and the locations, the building footprints of every house or apartment that's in Surrey. And the thing is, with GIS, you can actually go and then click on on a lot line polygon such as this one, and it's going to open up a database, and that database will have various kinds of information such as who the property owner is, how much taxes they paid, what was the last selling price of that property. Now, the stuff that you see and the stuff that the people at the city of Surrey see are going to be two different. So in GIS, you can also limit what things different people can see. So again, within the city, you'll see more than outside of the city. But you could see this everywhere. If you go to the City of Burnaby website, City of Vancouver, they all have this now. So GIS is everywhere. Okay, so what is GIS? It's a little bit of everything. So we say it's a tool, it's some software, it's also the technology, all the theory, the geographic theory that went into it, which is part of, well, started off in geography, but also has its fingers in computer science and visualization and stuff like that. So it is a science. The use of it, a lot of it is used as a sort of a decision support system. So if a municipal planner wants to figure out if a developer should be allowed to put a building, a tower up at some location, they can use GIS to take a look at various land uses and things, do some analysis, and come up with an informed decision. And so yeah, it's just part of our everyday life. You just don't realize it. And what kinds of careers or which kinds of agencies could you expect to see GIS in? Some of them you probably recognize, some of them you don't think, oh, these people actually use GIS. So we have sort of a few different areas. So we have got natural resources. So the Forest Service, BC government, Warehouser, mining company. So lots of natural resource agencies use GIS as well as things in transportation. So we have TransLink that uses it. Retail and food. So there's the Golden Arches, McDonald's is there, Chipotle, Boston Pizza. There's a lot more that do the retail stuff. And then we've got two engineering companies. These are two local companies here in Vancouver. One is Kerwood Lytle and the other is Hatfield Consultants. So there's a fairly wide range of users of GIS. So you can find yourself, if you prefer to do work in, say, the government side and municipal, there's opportunities there. If you prefer working in, say, an engineering environment, there's that kind of opportunity as well in GIS. Okay, so what kinds of work are there for GIS? There's a big spectrum where you can fit in to GIS. It just depends on how technical you want to get. So the most basic is what we just call a general user, and these are people that don't necessarily know about GIS or the terminology. Usually what happens is somebody will develop an application for them, so they have a screen in front of them and a few buttons to push, and it'll generate out a map or something like that. So casual users. Okay, so I had two examples there. Say a municipal counter clerk. So say if you're at the City of Surrey and you're at the counter and somebody comes and says, I need a printout of the lot lines, a map of the lot lines. So the municipal counter clerk doesn't have to be a GIS technician to generate that. We could have developed, or one of the GIS technicians could have developed an application. So all they have to do is type in the address, hit enter, and it'll generate, say, a PDF for that person. But that's not super exciting if you want to be into GIS. What you want to get into is probably builders, or that's where you would start. So that's the stuff that we are teaching. So we give you all the technical skills, how to use the software that we use primarily is called ArcGIS, or it's from a company called ESRI out of the United States. So they're the most popular GIS in the world. So we have several courses to teach you how to do different things with the ESRI software. But besides that, we also teach you all the things that go around it. So how to process things like satellite images or other aerial images, how to work with databases and bring in data from different sources and integrate them and do your visualization and the maps that you need to create. So that's where our strength is. So that's what we teach you, but we also help you out on the managerial side. So you say, well, I don't necessarily want to be a manager. What happens eventually, you're going to be a technician at one of the, say, the engineering companies, but over time people retire. So you're going to be working your way up the food chain, and at some point you're going to be a manager, or maybe a project manager, maybe not the top level manager, but who knows, you can. So what's going to happen is we also teach you those soft management skills. So as part, one of the courses that I teach is to help students get a project or a practicum with a sponsor. I'm teaching that course right now, and then the students are going to go out and do some work for their sponsor starting in January next year. So they're getting to learn a little bit about project management, how to manage their time, how to figure out their tasks and what has to be done before something else needs to be done. So they're getting a little bit of sort of that managerial type knowledge, so that when they have to actually go out and do that wherever they're working, they already have a little bit of background in that on top of all those technical skills. Okay, examples of GIS jobs. So what I did here is I have here on the left, so Civic Info BC is a great website for municipal jobs. They cover BC as well as other provinces. And if you go to their website, I think you can sign up for a weekly email to them. And as part of that email, it'll be a listing of civic jobs. So this is the listing from October last year. And then I've got another website here, Wow Jobs, that I just generated. I just did a query GIS in that one for this year, just to show you a range. So jobs, when certain jobs come and go, it all depends. So last year, when I did that query in Civic Info, there was a lot of jobs working for, say, there's the City of Vancouver is the first one, the second one, the Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen, City of North Vancouver, District of Kitimat, and different things. So there's some simple stuff, such as the GIS CAD technician. Then there's application developers. So if you have a keen interest in programming, so we are going to do some programming courses in here. That there is that, as well as there's that GIS assistant, as well as this is, I'm not sure what a geometric designer does in GIS, but sounds pretty technical on the engineering side. So that was more, there was a lot of municipal job openings at this time last year. So when I did a check this year, it seems it was more jobs on the private sector side. So those are the ones on the WOW jobs. So there's a marketing coordinator for real estate. So you say, real estate actually uses GIS? Yeah, well, if you look at things like the MLS.ca, they all have a Google Map thing, but there is more than just that. There's a big commercial real estate company called CBRE, and they have a big GIS department here in Vancouver and in Calgary, and they use GIS to help their clients with finding the property for their businesses. So yes, GIS is in things like real estate. There's a mineral claims tenure, so again, mining is still a big user of GIS. There's a software engineer, so again, if you like programming, there's lots of opportunities in GIS with programming. And I think just down to the last one, so there's a junior GIS analyst. So there's still those entry-level ones as well where you can work your way up. So those are two websites that you might want to watch over time. Okay, types of skills that you need for GIS. So I've listed 7 or 8 in there. There's not just one. It's not just you're sitting down at a desk and you're tracing contours and printing maps off. So GIS is a lot of things that you get exposed to and you get to do. So there is the GIS software, so you will get the skills in how to use, say, the ArcGIS software. We also teach some other software, so you get a little bit of things such as, I've got CAD remote sensing, so there's AutoCAD and MicroStation, as well as we do a little bit of open source GIS software as well. Databases. Databases are really important, so you get some knowledge about how to put together databases. And databases now, we're actually storing things such as satellite images and all the vector maps. That's all being stored in spatial databases now. So you get to learn about how to build those and use them, say, in ArcGIS. We teach you the different analysis techniques, so you learn about different types of overlays, buffers, network analysis, things like that. Sort of underpinning all of this is some knowledge of cartography. So what are, say, different map projections? What are the map projections that we use in BC, and the datums, and how should you sort of color a map so that people can understand what you're showing, or how do you get the point across? Programming, I keep coming back to programming. Programming is getting more and more important for GIS as well as, I think, every technology. So if you like to sit down and program, you could work for some companies such as Safe Software in Surrey, BC, and they've got a really cool tool that does translations between different GIS formats. And I think they can do something like 300 different formats, and it keeps growing all the time. So if you like programming, there's lots of jobs for things like that, as well as building web applications. So if you're good at, or you'll learn a little bit about PHP programming, HTML5. So if you want to build websites and things and put in the maps on there too, we're helping you learn how to do that. I just mentioned about the AutoCAD. And the remote sensing is basically working with aerial photos or satellite images, and we use the PCI software, which is a Canadian software, for processing that data. And okay, well, I talked about web applications. There's lots of things are going that way. Okay, other skills. So those are, I guess you can call those the hard skills. So there's also soft skills that go along with any job. So one of them is how to do problem solving. When somebody has needs you to make a map for them, they usually have a problem. Like they want to know, where is the soil contamination within this particular area? So you might need to gather data, which is sort of point data that has samples of, say, how much arsenic is at different locations in the soil. How do you get that in? How do you bring in contour maps and things and overlay that and visualized all that information, so you can say, well, that site is really contaminated and that site area is okay. So independent problem solving is important, as well as working in teams, so you're not always sort of by yourself doing GIS work. If you're in a bigger company, projects tend to be bigger. They could be, say, a year-long project. You might be working with a few other people. So being able to get along and work cooperatively in GIS is important. Communication is important. So in the beginning, as the GIS technician, you might not need to do too much on the communication side. Your manager will tell you, this is what I need you to do today or this week. But as things progress, you might need to make presentations, say to a municipal hall or something, or to a client, say, this is why we think you should come to us so that we can build this web mapping application for you. So we do teach, again, how to do that. In my class, students are getting ready to do presentations next month on their project or their practicum that they're going to be doing in January. Again, just being interpersonal, creative helps. Again, making maps is a little bit of creativity, so you can do the analysis and you can have a map, but you have to make it look nice, or get the colors and the fonts and everything to look good, so that people want to look at the map and they want to get that information. So there's a little bit of art to making a good map. So it's not just the analysis. So it's both art and science. And again, being organized is good for everybody. Getting a job. So this is one of the things students always ask about. And we did do a survey of our graduates 2010 and 2011. to try and find out their time to obtain a GIS job and what was their starting salary. So I kept mentioning that our students will do projects or practica starting in January for sponsors. So a lot of them, or what I have here, 28%, usually get hired by their sponsor, because the sponsor sees how well they're doing, how much knowledge that they have. So quite a few of them get hired by their sponsors. Then the next 28% got a job within 3 months, another 28 in the 4 to 6, and 8% in 6 to 12, and the other 8% took them a little over a year. But so it looks like about 92% had a job within 1 year. Okay, so it all depends again on what you're interested in. So if you are probably liking to do programming or databases, you're probably going to get hired a lot faster, because those are the more in-demand GIS jobs. On the wage side, starting salary, and so the big one, so the 40%, their starting salary was between $50,000 and $59,000 a year as a starting salary. I think that's pretty good. The next biggest wedge, 32%, was between 40 and 49, and the blue wedge, a bit smaller, under 40 was 20%. So again, just adding those two together, that's 72%. So almost 3/4 were making 40 to 60, or almost 60,000 a year. Okay, I also went on this website called payscale.com to find out sort of generally. So that was just our graduates and what their kinds of wages. So I said, let's take a look at payscale.com. They look across Canada, and what are the salaries for different levels of GIS people across Canada. So for just sort of the entry level GIS technician, the salary ranges was between 38 and 68,000, with a median of 48,800 about. Okay, so my guess, because Vancouver's more expensive, we would be sort of at least at the 48 or higher side. So if you get a little bit more responsibility, that'll bring you up to the GIS analyst. So you can see that that median has gone from 48 up to 55, so about an extra $7,000 a year, and that wage range, salary range, went to 41 up to 75,000. And then once you get into the management side, so that's at 55, and we jump up to a median of 80,000 with a range of 56 to 107,000. So that one's quite a big, I think it's about $25,000 jump on the median side. So, you know, slowly working your way up, you will get paid more and more, but again, more responsibility. Okay, let's take a look at now at our program. So we've been teaching GIS since 1987, so more than 25 years of experience. And the cool thing is, a lot of those early graduates, they're now managers across BC as well as in other provinces, and they know what we teach them, and they tend to look for other BCIT GIS graduates. So previous places that I looked at, or I've worked at, when we needed a new GIS technician, one of the things that we looked for was BCIT GIS graduates. So there's lots of us out there. We've been out there again for more than 25 years. So they'll be looking for you when you graduate. Our courses. So we do have sort of two options. Probably the most popular is you come here, you spend a year, so you start in September and you end either at the end of May or the end of June, and you get what we call our advanced diploma. The other one is what we call the Bachelor of Technology. So the Bachelor of Technology, you're going to take the same GIS courses over that September to May or June. And after that, for the Bachelor of Technology, there's some other part-time studies courses you take afterwards. You take some liberal studies and management courses, so you're a well-rounded individual, and you need to also get some 6 months of GIS work experience. So that was in, I said there's face-to-face here, that's the most popular, but we also have part-time studies. So some of you might say, well, yes, I've got a full-time job, I can't stop working for 9 months. Can I do this online, or can I do this part-time studies? So yes, so we do offer all of the courses that we have here in our face-to-face program. There is either online, or you can come in and do like a week intensive, or evenings or weekends, things like that. And I think I've got a few slides that'll show you a little bit more of the details on that. And let's see, so I've covered all of that. Okay, so a little bit more differences on the advanced diploma as well as the Bachelor of Technology. So usually the people that have a degree already, say they went to UBC or SFU and they have a degree in forestry or geography or sociology, and they want to supplement that with GIS, most of them will do the advanced diploma. They already have a bachelor's degree, no sense doing a second bachelor degree. So that's sort of the most popular. We take in 45 students a year, and probably about 42, 43 do that advanced diploma. So the other one is the Bachelor of Technology. So those are, again, those are for people that don't have a bachelor's degree, or lots of international students, usually Canadian or United States bachelor degrees are sort of ranked higher than degrees from other places in the world. As well as we have a new program just started a year ago called the Advanced Certificates. This is a little bit different than the other two. So in the Advanced Certificate, this is for people that don't want to be GIS gurus like we are, but they need to use GIS where they work. So this is just gives you a little bit of experience in, say, ArcGIS, in processing satellite images and databases. So it's 7 courses, and you can do it in about 1.5 years part-time. It's all online. Okay, and you have up to 5 years to do that one. So our entrance requirements for all 3 of them are basically the same. So you either need to have a university degree, or you've had to at least done 2 years of university, or the third option is you have a diploma of technology. So say you were a BCIT or a SAIT graduate, and you had a diploma in forestry or some other field. So those would all qualify for that. So if you were straight out of high school, unfortunately you can't come straight into that program, but get at least that 2 years of university, then you can do our GIS program. Okay, so here's the sort of the structure of the courses that we go through. So we have both the Advanced Diploma and the Bachelor of Technology up there. So the first section up here, so there's the technical courses and management courses. So they both have to take some. You'll see that in the Bachelor they have to do a few more. So this is 9 credits there versus 5 here. So again, just to get that bachelor credential, you have to do a little bit of more management courses. In the middle is that industry project or workplace practicum. You'll notice that at the advanced diploma it has practicum, while the Bachelor of Technology says project only. So part of what the getting the bachelor's degree through the BC Ministry of Education, it came up with saying that if you are doing the bachelor degree, you have to do a project. So what's the difference between a project and a practicum, you're saying? In a practicum, you go out to a company's office, you sit at their desk, you work on their computers using their software to do some work. So it's just like being an employee. On the other side is the project. So in the project, you still have a sponsor, but you just do the work here at BCIT. So there could be a sponsor that says, well, I would like if you could develop application to do figuring out where flood zones are in British Columbia. So you would use the software here. They could send you the data, that you could work with the data here and develop that application for them. So that's the only difference, whether you're doing the work here or you're actually sitting at a desk in the sponsor's office. So after you've done that on the advanced diploma, you're a graduate. And then, like I said, on the Bachelor of Technology side, there's these additional liberal arts courses and that 6 months of GIS work experience that you need, and then those few extra management courses. Okay. So for the advanced diploma, whether you do it, say here full-time, or you do it online. So if you do it here, it's 9 to 10 months. So depending on what type of project or practicum you do, you might end at the end of May or the end of June, but we all start in September. If you go through the part-time studies, you take a few courses each semester, maybe 2 or 3 maximum. You probably can't do more than that because they're fairly intensive. But if you really work really hard, you could theoretically get all the courses done within 2 years. But the nice thing is, through part-time studies, we give you up to 5 years. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to kill yourself and try and get it done. In 2 years, you have that whole time, up to 5 years, in order to cover off all your courses. And for the Bachelor of Technology, so again, I said the Bachelor of Technology, you take over the same 9 to 10 months with the advanced diploma students, get all those GIS technical courses, and then you start taking through part-time studies those additional management liberal studies, as well as that 6 months of GIS work experience. So in this one, because there's a bit more courses to do, through the part-time studies, we say theoretically, if you work super hard, you could get it done in 3 years, but we give you up to 7 years to do that if, again, you want to be a little bit more casual because you're busy, you've got a job or kids or different things like that that's happening. Okay, facilities and teaching that we have here. So we do have a dedicated GIS lab that only our GIS students can get into with specialized hardware and software on there. We also have access to our software, so the ArcGIS. We have a web portal that you can go into. So if you are at home and you've got your laptop or your desktop computer connected to the internet, theoretically you could do some of your assignments from home. So again, well, that also works for the part-time studies. So in our labs here, you've got 24/7 access. We're always updating our computer hardware and software. We always make sure in our labs there is one computer per student, so you don't have to share computers with other people. All of our instructors, we all have at least a master's degree, as well as many years of work experience. Some of us are municipal, provincial government, private industry. So we all have lots of different experience that we bring in here. So again, just before you decide whether you want to be a GIS person like Sheila or me, just do a little bit of research. You might want to take a look at the one slide that I showed, all those different types of companies. You might want to go and check those out. Another thing that you might want to check is if you go to the BCIT website, to the GIS section, there's a little alumni database link on the bottom right corner. If you click on it, it'll list all of the alumni that have registered with us, and it says the name of the company that they currently work for. So if you say, well, I'm interested in forestry, you might go through and look, oh, there's this person works in a forestry company. You could send them an email and say, ask them questions about the program and the kinds of stuff that they're doing in GIS in forestry. So that alumni database is quite useful. Okay, so taking a look at, is GIS for me? Do you like spatial problems? Are you able to, or are you, I guess, interested enough to learn a little bit of programming? We're not going to make you computer science majors, but we're going to give you enough knowledge that if you need to do some programming, build some scripts so that you can customize a little application, that you would be comfortable doing that. So we're not, again, not making you into programmers, but just giving you enough knowledge that you could be comfortable doing that. I know some people really like programming, so hey, there's a lot bigger opportunities in GIS in that, as well as in database. And just having some technical skills. So again, being able to think logically. You might want to try doing some things. There's online courses that are free. So if you want to try out Python programming, that's one of the programming languages that we use, and see how you like that. Or there's some of those massively open courses. So try one on something on databases or big data. So those are all things that we are going to touch on, and just see how you like that. Okay, questions about admissions before applying. So just to let you know that we have our intake for our program as well as other programs start, I think it'll be the first Monday in November. And that'll be for the September 2018 intake. Okay, so I was saying for our program, we have a maximum of 45 students a year, and usually those 45 students, we get them filled up before Christmas. So if you're interested in getting into our program, make sure that you get all the information that you need. So one of the things is you need to supply us a transcript from, say, the university or college or technical school that you went to. So get all your information together, because the opening to get into our program, like I said, it's going to be starting at the start of November, and it really fills up really fast. So once it's filled by, like I said, by Christmas, we then start building a wait list, because you never know, sometimes some people might sign up, but then their life situation changes. So even if you don't make it to that those first 45, you still might get in through that wait list. So we do have program advising. If you have some general questions about BCIT and getting into BCIT and scholarships and things like that, you can talk to program advising. There's the email address, phone number, when you can drop by their offices. But you can also talk to me, so there's my contact details, as well as, so that's, for me, that's for part-time or full-time, or for the part-time, you might want to talk to Carmen Heaver. So Carmen, she's our part-time studies coordinator, so if you just want to go the part-time route, so she'll work with you to work out a schedule so that we can see, which courses are you going to take this semester and next semester and next year, and plot out your plan to get through the advanced diploma or that Bachelor of Technology. And we also have our program assistant, Dee Marita, and she can answer sort of general questions. Okay, so that was the presentation. So I'll open it up to any questions that you might have for me. And I know you're still thinking about these 3 water bottles, so I'll bring that one up after. Yes?
Is admissions based on a first come, first serve? So if you meet the requirements, just first come, first serve, or is it still competitive based?
It's first come, first serve. So they check, admissions will check, do you have the 2 years of university? Yes. Do you have whatever the other things that they check for? And once all the check boxes are checked, you're in. Yeah.
And then I had another question.
Yep.
Sorry. And then if you're still finishing your diploma or degree,
Yeah.
can you apply, or do you have to wait until you finish and then a whole year? So
Well, if you're still
there's
like,
1 year left, so can you apply for the November so you can get in for September?
yeah, well, say you're in a 4-year program and you've done 3 years. So that's you've already covered your first 2.
Or like I'm more interested for a 2-year diploma within BCIT. So you've only completed 1 year, but you're completing the second by April.
I think you can still apply to that, yes. I would just check with the advising admissions just to make 100% sure. Yep. Anybody else?
Usually, Carl, what
Yep.
you do is they will give a provisional acceptance. So you're accepted provisionally.
So yes, you'll get a provisional acceptance, so just as long as you pass.
Yeah, and then you have to pass. And if you don't make it, then someone from the waitlist takes your spot.
Right, yes.
Do the part-time admissions start in November as well?
So part-time, you can join anytime. So you can start taking courses in January, in the winter semester. You can start in April, in the spring semester. You could start in September in the fall semester. So it's much more flexible on the part-time studies.
Do you apply in November? Same admissions day?
It's a bit different. So in part-time studies, you can start taking, so we've got 7,000 level, sort of the entry-level courses, and then we've got our 8,000 level. So you can start taking the 7,000 level courses without declaring that I want to be in the advanced diploma or the Bachelor of Technology. But as soon as you want to get into the 8,000 level courses, that's when you have to tell admissions, okay, I want to now be put into the advanced diploma part-time studies version. Yeah. Yes.
If you have courses from SFU, for example,
Yep.
GIS courses, can those be considered courses here?
Yes, well, yes and no. We do have what's called course exemptions, and what we do is say when you get into the full-time program here, and you start your classes in September, you can fill out a form. So say we have our ArcGIS Level 1 course here. You say, well, I've done the similar thing at SFU. So you fill out a form that says I'd like to get an exemption from ArcGIS 1. And what you do is you supply a transcript showing the course or courses that you took at SFU, as well as we need to see sort of a detailed outline of what things that you learned in those courses, because what we need to see is at least an 80% match between what we're teaching and what you learned. And the other thing is the stuff that the course that you took has to be less than 5 years old. So if you did it 10 years ago, with say technology's changed a lot over that amount of time, you have to retake that course. But yes, so in theory you can get some course exemptions, but it's not like 100% guarantee. So the instructors have to take a look and see what you took and how it matches up to what we're teaching.
Regarding the programming aspect, is there a certain type of programming you focus on more, like SQL or Java? Or
There's lots of things that we teach on the programming. The one, probably the most structured one, is Java. So we have sort of 2 full Java courses and then another course that uses some Java in it, but it's not a dedicated Java course. We also did, I was mentioning Python, so we've got a Python customization for ArcGIS course that Sheila teaches. Then we also do some things like PHP, HTML5. So there's a little bit of everything in there. Yep.
On the topic of programming,
Yep.
I read that it's a good idea to have some programming experience before you come in. I was wondering if you can talk to that, sort of what that means in terms of what level you can.
Well, we do start you off at 0. So if you've got 0 programming experience, you can start. But of course, it'll be harder a little bit because it's programming tends to have a sort of a steep learning curve. So if you can take, like I said, there's all these online free courses. So try like the Python course, or there's some online free how to do Java programming or JavaScript, things like that. So at least if you get some exposure and you're thinking about if then else statements and do while loops, that'll help you along. Yeah. I think there was there. Yeah.
So do you get to choose whether you do a practicum or a project?
Well, it depends on how much I like you, because I'm the one that helps coordinate them. So, well, what happens is the students, it's partially their responsibility to find a sponsor to do a project or practicum, but I've got lots of past sponsors that I've dealt with, as well as people that I've worked with in industry. So they come to me every year. So I tend to have this big long list of projects and practica. So I put them out to the students and then they apply to those sponsors. So sometimes maybe the practicum that you went in, a different student got. So then maybe you might end up doing one of the projects instead. So I try to accommodate everybody, but it just depends who gets what project or practicum. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
You said that there's a certain number that you admit. Is that for both the full-time and the part-time?
No, those are completely independent. So in the full-time, just because of the size of our labs, we can only accommodate 45 students. But for the part-time, I think it's like the part-time, because we have this continuous enrollment thing and that happens, I think we have like over 80 students sort of at different phases going through. So there's no limit on the part-time. Just apply when you're interested and sign up for courses.
However, I should mention that getting into those part-time courses can be highly competitive. They tend to
Fill up quickly.
Yeah, fill up quickly. Registration opens 3 times a year, whether it's fall, winter, or spring, and some of them are filled in a day. So you have to be really on the ball, knowing what courses you want to take, and when registration opens, and be ready with your visa card.
Yes, so I think either today or tomorrow, some of the part-time studies courses opened already. So,
Already?
yeah, it was either today or tomorrow. So if there was some intro-level courses that you were interested in taking online, I would go into the bcit.ca/GIS website and take a look. Any other questions? Yep.
Do you mind going back to the program advisor information? I think it was
That one? Yep. Yes.
About the language requirement, because you're immigrants here. So I wanted to know whether we need to have a certain level of English before we enter.
Yeah, they're for BCIT through admissions. They have, I forget, there's the ICES, and they'll take you through the process that you need in order to get into BCIT in general.
So we need to meet that requirement before we apply, or?
I would talk to program advising and they'll tell you. So yeah, so I don't know the exact details about language requirements to get into BCIT. Yep.
Is there for the programming, is there a particular website or a book you suggest to learn about Python and Java and HTML?
I don't. I would just try Googling and see, say, free Python course and see what pops up. Sheila, did you have any ideas of some websites for Python programming or anything online?
The best place to start is www.python.org.
Yes, python.org, so that's
And
sort of the
then
master place.
Just Google free Python programming courses.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
There's a Code Academy,
Yes, Code Academy.
online one that I've done Python on that one before. It's really good.
Yep. And so I was mentioning sort of the ESRI, the ArcGIS software. If you go to the ESRI website, they also do have some free courses on various aspects of GIS. So you might want to go and try taking some of those free courses online as well.
In terms of job prospects after,
Yep.
is it better to take the bachelor route or the advanced diploma route? Have you seen the difference?
The GIS courses that they take are identical, so that doesn't matter. Like I said, it's primarily you're doing the Bachelor of Technology if you don't have a bachelor's degree already. And like I said, there's lots, more than 25 years worth of our graduates are out in management now, so they know what an advanced diploma student can do. So there's not a problem whether it's BTech or ADP, Advanced Diploma. Anything else?
For those, the part-time courses you're talking about that open tomorrow? Or
Yes, it's either today or tomorrow, yes.
Are those the 7,000
The
ones?
list of them right now.
Are those 7,000 courses that you're referring to?
Y- Yes, yeah. So if you wanted to do you can't do the 8,000 courses until you get through the 7,000, the entry level stuff, because the 8,000 builds on the 7,000 level.
I was thinking more in terms of, I have a bachelor degree, but I'd have to get a transcript from overseas.
Right.
So would I have to get that before applying for a 7,000, or could
There's 2 courses available in January, GIST 7100 and GIST 7128, that you could simply just sign up for, pay for, and take
without having?
without applying for
Okay.
the advanced diploma or bachelor
Yeah.
technology.
So it's only when you hit that 8,000 level, that's when you have to tell admissions, I want to be considered for the advanced diploma or the bachelor of technology, and that's when you need to get your transcript. Yep.
So there's 45 seats allotted for the full-time advanced diploma program.
Yep.
What's the typical success rate of people making it through the program? You get all 45 people who make it through the program, or is there like 42, 43?
There's usually 1 or 2 students that drop out. It's usually like personal kinds of reasons. Their family is moving, or there's something has changed in their life, and they just, they can't continue on with the program. It is a hard program, so you are doing like 9 courses in this fall semester. So yeah, you're working really hard. You can't do something like have a part-time job and do the full-time program at the same time. Yeah, so most of the students stick through it. Usually, the 1 or 2 that don't, it's typically they've got other issues in their life that takes them away from doing that. Or what they do is they say, what I'll do is instead of like completely dropping it, I'm going to change into part-time studies. So then they go from full-time into the part-time studies program. Yes?
How many applications do you usually get for these 45 positions?
Well, I don't know the grand total, but I see through admissions the 45 that get accepted, and then we do a wait list of 45. So there's at least 90. There's usually probably more that have applied, but they didn't have all of the information that admissions needs. So some people just have like partial information in, but it doesn't count until you've got all the items that admissions can check off. Yep.
And are all the applications done online, or can you come in and have all your things with you to make sure you've got everything?
I don't know for sure. I think most people just do everything online, but we do have in the SW1 building, that's where admissions is, and maybe you can do it in person. I just don't know that. They'd be able to tell you at that phone number or email. Anything else? Well, we've come to the point where we've got these 3 really nice water bottles. So I've got 3 questions. So the first one, if somebody can answer, so there was a 3D view of some sports stadium. Can you tell me the name of that sports stadium or the city? Excellent. So you are the first winner. Okay, so for our second one, I showed you the city of, and you can't win again. You can only win once. The name of the city. So we had the city of Surrey. So I showed you their GIS website, and that you could go and click on the lot line, and it'll give you the report. Do you remember the name of the data or their software window?
Was it Cosmo?
Cosmos? Close enough. You forgot the S, but I'll accept that. Okay, so that's 2. We're down to the third and last one. So I had one of my screens showed a bunch of logos of different government agencies and private companies. Can somebody tell me the name of, say, one of the private companies? Weyerhaeuser is correct. Okay, so those are our three winners. Sorry, people out on the web, that you couldn't play the game with me. But again, hopefully you were asking questions to Sheila, and if anybody else has questions after, we'll just stop right here. And thanks for showing up.